Nice to see you're actually above your desk as we start this particular episode. Although, to be honest with you, you've got no reason to. I mean, one thing's for certain, Jonesy, is that England will always give us something to talk about. They've closed there on 134 for six, 43 runs behind a rampant Australia side. What did you make of the day's play?
If we were disappointed yesterday, I think it's a similar, if not another level today. Disappointed for, I suppose, different reasons yesterday. Um,
Yeah,
Today was just bad. I think I've got to give credit to Australia as well. The way, and that's across the Test match, but just talking about today, the way that Boland and Stark battered
yep.
it was clear. Let's get through as long as the daylight as we can, because we know that the hardest time to bat is under lights. It's well known, So okay, let's just get through it, and that's what they did brilliantly. And they add to that, they did score. I think they're very clinical with they obviously they rode their luck a bit, but on the back of it, they've got to have massive credit because they've put their team in the position that we saw by the close of play is now absolute strength going on to win it.
Yeah, Boland and Stark, their stand was 75 runs. But obviously the runs are important, but the way they went about uh, building that partnership was telling, wasn't it? Because they clearly had a plan about when they wanted to bowl at England.
Yeah, and that's been that's the talk of the pink test. You hang on, and then as a bowling unit, you strike under lights.
Hmm.
And if you wind it right back to the start of the Test match, that losing the toss, England choosing to bat, Australia have played an absolute blinder from the start. Yet England had an opportunity to get some runs on the board, which they threw away and frustrated us. But Joe Root showed us how. But from that moment, you bowl first, you bowl them out for a reasonably cheap, yeah, 320 odd, it's okay. But then the way that Australia did it from there, that's the blueprint, isn't it? You then
Hmm.
go and score over 500. You keep the batting unit out there for 120 overs, I think around that. Okay, mental, physical tiredness. You keep them out there a bit longer until the conditions are perfect for you, and then you strike. And as you know, I was at my Ash dinner last night,
Yeah, how
and
were the Spuds? Spuds go
oh,
well? Yeah,
magnificent!
banging.
Never any doubt. I actually picked up an award as well,
What,
but
best Spud?
we no, not for the food, but
Oh,
we could talk that up later, and
yeah, that's, I can't wait. Yeah, it'll be
I'll
good.
post a picture on my socials later as well of it. But the worry there, talking, some real cricket fans and
Hmm.
badgers in there, and I said it could finish tonight if it doesn't go well, just because looking at it, the approach of it, and that was a real worry of mine. That hang on a minute, this could be over
Hmm.
because Australia are playing into the conditions perfectly. Thankfully, we've got another day, and thankfully for fans out there as well. But how long that day will be, who knows?
Yeah, the way that England batted helped that strategy, didn't they? Because you're right in what you say. Australia batted really well. Oh, by the way, there's always a stat or two that I need to throw into this thing. It's the first time in Test history that every member of a batting lineup has made 13 or more runs. So there you are. You see, that's a
Yeah,
that's a
I
mark.
was listening to that stat as well.
Oh
Well done.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to claim that I made it. I did all the research myself, but yeah, listening to Andy Zoltzman on TMS actually helps in this podcast because I can lift a load of stuff off there, and this is vaguely a credit, right? So there you
Yeah.
go.
Okay, I've got
Go
one
on.
for you.
Oh, go
All
on
right,
then.
this is
Yeah.
right. This is one to throw back at you.
Mm,
And I'm trying to think of the way to word it, but uh, what was not important the right way, but when Josh English took the wicket of Stokes, what was important about that, or what was an interesting stat about that dismissal in this Ashes series?
that was the run out, wasn't it?
The run out yesterday. What was important about that dismissal?
Um, was it the fact that the English player wasn't born in England and the Aussie player wasn't born in Australia? It's a good argument.
Uh, the what? What do you say then?
The English batter Ben Stokes wasn't born in
Yeah,
England; he was born in New Zealand, and the
yeah.
Aussie fielder Josh Inglis was born in Leeds. So it's
Okay,
like the
so
other way
you've
around.
got you're on the right path
Right,
with English and where he was, his origin of birth.
right, okay,
So I'll just get to it. So
yeah,
that was the first dismissal by, and when we're calling dismissal significance in terms of he's
yeah.
going to get that run out of his stats by an England-born player.
Ah,
No, no, Atkinson hadn't taken a wicket to that point.
yeah, yeah, okay, fine.
So all the others
Yeah,
wickets
yeah, yeah. Okay.
were
Oh,
by
in this
bowlers
test match,
born
right?
overseas
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah.
in this Ashes series. In the first test as well,
Yeah, that's
Atkinson
right.
didn't take a wicket.
No, he's the first bowler to take a wicket that was born in England. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Over 2 tests. No, not bad. I mean, that was good thought by me. I was on the right lines. So
yeah.
I need some sort of credit. You can continue this actually because I'm getting fed up of this true or false business where you basically get them all right. So let's see. So going back to pressure, 5-0's on the cards. Um,
What?
5-0 is on the way that England's playing at the moment. And listen, this is very much a because we're both in England, and English and whatever. It's a very much we look at the negative part of the England side, and we should also praise the Australians for playing as well as they played, and even with, as we said yesterday, a second string bowling attack strategically, tactically, mentality, all of those things, they've outsmarted England completely. Which is why I think, as much as I'd like to not say 5-0 is on the cards for only the third time this century, right? So 06, 07, there was another one, wasn't there? 13, 14 or something, I think, and then this one. You don't think that's going to happen, do you? Or do you?
No, because I don't because we haven't seen any weather yet, and so I think weather will play a part in one of the test matches. But also, I think that England will put it together for a test match, but looking like it might be too late. But how, as a fan, I'm now thinking, let's win the next three. I know we haven't lost this one yet, and
Hmm.
who knows, Brisbane could offer the mightiest of mighty thunderstorms, and the Gabba, being the old stadium it is, collapses, and we've got to abandon the test match, and it's a draw. But
It's well, do you see the thing in the WBL where the ball got stuck under a roller?
I've
That's
seen
a
that
tactic.
happen.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
tactic. And Stokes, you could try that.
yeah. We need something,
Hmm.
but yeah, no, I don't think it'll be 5-0. I hope it's not, because I think my reasoning for that is this is a different. I'd like to think it's a different English side that's potentially gone out and been beaten. My side that was beaten 5-0. We weren't in a position in that. We didn't have a great lead up to that. We'd been to Pakistan after 05. That hadn't gone well. The following summer, I actually was brought back in and ended up being dropped again. So we'd lost. There was no Varney. We'd lost a lot of that. So that 06, 07, yeah, and the team we were playing against. So, and I'll put this English team as at a higher level to that, a more settled unit. So that's why I don't hope and I don't want it to be 5-0, and I don't think it will, because they
So
will do a performance.
06, 07 was 5-0. So what was the change room like at this particular point? So you're 2-0 down, or you're going to be 2-0 down, or you are 2-0 down. Can you remember kind of what the change room was like from a positivity sense, I suppose?
Yeah, we were gone. It was
Right.
Adelaide. We'd had Collingwood score a double hundred. We're
Oh yeah.
we're in a position of strength, and we just didn't score any runs at any sort of rate. And Hussey came out and played a reasonable, a good innings, and won the match for them. So we were gone as a unit. Then
Did you
it
declare
was.
at Adelaide? Was there a declaration there? after enough?
I think there is a stat around the fact that yes,
Yeah.
we did declare and got
And
beaten. But yeah,
got bit.
you have someone get a double hundred and you
Mm,
lose.
mm,
And so yeah, that we were properly deflated, and the Aussies knew it, and this team will be the same because 2-0. All the stats say there's no chance if you win, and we left these shores thinking it's our best chance.
yeah. England's never come from 2-0 down to win. Yeah, a series or and so we've talked about Harry Brook. We're going to move on to a couple of other players, one of whom we did touch upon yesterday around his wicket keeping, but you also actually did say that you thought Jamie Smith's place was in danger. Who would, but the other person whose place is in danger is Ollie Pope, who's probably the reserve wicketkeeper, I think, on that tour, because they haven't taken a specialist, have they? They haven't taken Folks, and they haven't taken, unless they call up somebody from the Lions. I think one of the Rue brothers keeps, does he? One of the two, yeah, it does, yeah. So unless
both
they do that,
think.
they're both. So unless they call up from the Lions, which I just can't see this England side doing, because they come out in the press conferences as Trescothick did after the end of play today, and it's just the same old story. We're doing all the right things. Stick with us. We know what we're doing. Trust the process, etc. But how long can England fans trust the process?
Well, not much longer, but
No.
I'm still reeling that. Did I really say that Smith's place was in danger? I've blanked that from my memory. Because as I sit here now, yeah, I don't think it is for this series at all because I think I think he's in, but yeah, Ollie Pope has brought back, sort of rehashed all the questions that people had around him, and the pundits and fans, and he's actually played quite nicely. And if you think of Perth, he was probably, as a batter, he played
Until
nicely.
he played that shot.
Yeah. But then this innings again was a bit of a skittish one. I was watching that, and he came out, and I thought he was in a poor position with his head, and so he wasn't lining it up. His head was slightly stuck offside, and so the Aussie bowlers were hunting that a little bit. I think Stark tried to do a similar dismissal to what we did for Weatherald and try and fool one, but he got away with it. So I actually thought his positions weren't great when he went out to bat today, and he was falling over a lot of shots. He nearly got caught and bowled first ball.
Well, yeah,
So
that's right.
he then was sort of a bit skittish, and that nervous character that we've seen in quite a lot of his innings, and is the question mark around him. And as your number 3, you want calmness, and so those questions will arise again from the method of which he batted today. I think he put a little bit to bed in the first test, but it's rekindled again in this second test.
Someone from back in the day, Chris Tavray, who also played for Kent, as you well know, averaged like 30 in Test match cricket, and he was accused of just being the archetypal blocker. But actually, in one-day cricket, he averaged in the 40s, and I think he changed, or was told to change, the way he played for Test cricket, because it wasn't his natural. Being defensive wasn't his natural game, but he had the mindset and the mentality to be able to do that. Ollie Pope, what is his natural game?
I think he wants to be fluent. I think he sort of wants to match what the rest of the team does. But his issue is that, again, he's a bit loose with it, which you could argue, that's what's cost them. But I think he wants to be he's a good looking batter on the eye when he gets going. His cover drive, it always gets sort of matched with Ian Bell for the look of it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think he wants to flow with runs, and that's a bit of it. So if he's tied up, it then becomes difficult for him, and then that's when you start to see him chase stuff. And then so when he goes out to bat, it's because he wants to start flowing. He wants to get into the rhythm quickly. So he's chasing that, and by chasing that, he's making some poor decisions, and he makes it look nervous. So he doesn't want to be a Tavares-esque player. I don't, that's not him at all. He wants to score runs, and that's the method of this group, and that's why he chopped on in that first one. Yeah, we all wanted him to leave it, but he wants to get some bat on it. He wants to get scoring. He wants to feel it in the middle, because he knows if he gets in and he's feeling that way, he's a top class batter. He's shown that for Surrey. He's shown that for England when he scored hundreds. His bit that he needs to work really hard on is getting that first 20, 30 runs in a method which sets him up. So today he got 20 odd, but the method didn't look as if it was a longevity method.
England don't seem to go through the gears as efficiently as some of the other Test sides. Look at the way that Australia batted today. It was very much that they started off, so went through. It had a natural sort of rhythm to the Australian innings, whereas any of the England innings over the last sort of, even going back to let's just go back to the India series, bar one or two tests, it's all very frenetic. England seem to want to just put it into first gear, then go straight into sixth. There's nothing, and get through the middle bit as quickly as possible. And we spoke about Harry Brook being vice captain, Ollie Pope being stripped of it. And I think I can see now why, is because it gives England the opportunity to replace him at some point. So do you think actually Ollie Pope is the one whose place is in danger?
It was a bit coming into the series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't until
Bethel. Yeah.
It wasn't until he got some runs. Yeah, that was the chat. Is that basically he's holding a spot for Jacob Bethel, and it's how long they're willing for Ollie Pope, I think, to sit in that spot, because they've obviously got massive raps on Jacob Bethel. When he came in, he's played quite well. They've given him captaincy, which we've spoken about. So Pope must know that. Pope must know that, and it wasn't until I think he got 100 in the warm up match, didn't he?
Yeah, he got 100 and he got runs in the second dig as well, didn't he? Got 80, I don't think.
Yeah, and so then that put him in, but for me, I think the powers that be are waiting until they can get Jacob Bethel in, because.
Do you think it's Jacob? Do you think they'll put Jacks up there?
Well, no, I don't think he'll put Jacks up there.
No.
No,
Moving from 8 to
not,
3, and they keep the bowling option, and again, that gives them the flexibility for somebody else lower down.
no, I think
No,
at number 3 at Test match cricket. I may be doing Will Jacks a disservice, but I don't think he's a number 3. Whereas Jacob Bethel is an out and out batter, and probably can slot into 3.
But I mean, how? I'm obviously not a professional cricketer, never have been. You have, and we can go back into the change rooms. But even Joe Root today, and I'm glad actually Zach Crawley's got some runs, because he got 70 on. And actually, I don't mind him not converting, because if he's getting starts at the speed he gets starts, I think it sets the side up quite well. But again, that shot he played, Ollie Pope, Joe Root, that sort of plant your foot, the ball, just not recognising the ball's going to bounce in Australia. They must go back in the change rooms and go, that was not very good. Because as fans, we can sit there and we can see it. And I don't understand why continually they come out and play the same shots.
I think today's innings. So you mentioned about your playing background and not having played the top level.
Yeah.
And with that, what you can't put yourself into, but you can sort of probably equate to it a bit with having played cricket to a decent level, where you would have stood in the field for, what's the max? Let's call it a 50 over match, or even if you've played some club cricket because you're quite old, which was 2-day stuff.
Yeah, stood in the field all day.
Yeah. It's not 100 and, what was it, 120? How many overs did they bowl? 115, something, whatever.
Yeah.
Until that, for me, was the factor today about the batting, and why the Aussies got it so right, is because they made our batters stand out in the field for over 110 overs. That's a day and a session. And even if there is breaks, and I also, spoke yesterday about the recovery factor and what have you, it's mentally tiring, and Test match cricket is mentally tiring. And as a batter, you, especially up the top, when you're watching the lower order of the opposition just bat on and on and on, and you are just trying to get your head around batting and get your head into batting, you just want to get out there and do it. So when it prolongs, it mentally fatigues you. And today was why it's called Test cricket. You have to stand out there for a day and nearly a half. Then you're required to go and bat at an elite level to bowlers that have rested and
Mm.
are at their peak. And that's what I saw from today's display, was that the Test match played out exactly how Australia have wanted it, and our batters were tested to the old, and we didn't stand up to it. So that led to a few of the decisions. Usually in a Test match, in second innings, you see some shots and you think, "Where's?" And that's from mental and physical fatigue.
Um, in a very actually not that far away in New Zealand, the West Indies, who have been through their own decline, and a lot of their players have gone off and played franchise cricket and put Test cricket for the West Indies to one side. Scored today the second highest fourth innings total in the history of the game, 457 for six, in 163 overs. In 163 overs in nearly 2 days they batted for. Justin Greaves 202. I think you know how many balls Kemar Roach faced, don't you?
He got 58 off 233 balls.
Yeah. So that's a set of individuals who are committing to playing Test cricket in a way that's responsible and that the way that it should be played. And England consistently have come out and said, no, this is the way we play, this is the way we play, trust the process, blah, 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 blah. And, whether, and Stokes, I know, has retracted his comment about old timers and has-beens and stuff, but everybody that you listen to in the press, and even Stuart Broad, is saying this is not the way you approach Test cricket. Um, that they can't be right. Surely the result, the proof is in the pudding. The results are showing that the way they're approaching it is incorrect.
Yeah, and that's what's as it goes on longer, and stats start to back up everyone's thoughts as to the method not being right. We scrutiny is building and building, because we're
Yeah,
repetition of poor shots, poor decisions
yeah,
is what's hurting, and what's killing us as fans. It's we're we're wanting. We've always spoken about it a lot. We're wanting to see something different, and we're not. But then, like Trezor's interview, he comes out there and says we're going to, and the longer they keep saying we're sticking to our method, we're doing it, we believe in it, we trust in it, but then we're seeing it. Well, it's not working. It's everyone's sort of screaming, tearing. I haven't been on to look at comments today, but I imagine that on all different comments that the fans are absolutely piling in, and they're not happy. But then to put my sort of self back in that dressing room when in that
yeah,
position, and you're sent out to the press. You have to say what Trezor's saying.
yeah. Of course, yeah.
It's and within that environment, you don't speak freely. If I think back to my time when I was under scrutiny, and I was often shielded from it. And actually, looking back, once I'd finished, I sort of said, I wish I'd been put out there to give my point of view. I wish I'd spoken freely, and that's like I'm finished cricket now, and I'm speaking more freely than I would
Mm,
ever have had in that situation, because one, I don't want to go against the management. I love playing this. I don't want to sort of say that no, I don't believe in it. Okay, we're not. We're trying hard. We believe in our process, because that's what. Again, you set your method up before they would have had camps before they left, and they would have decided, and they sort of McCullum, Stokes, Key, everyone involved would have come up with it, and so then that's your way you're going, and you have to, as a group, stick with that. Okay,
um,
if you don't, you're in a lot of trouble.
Did you see Nathan Lyon's interview after he got, when he wasn't selected for this match?
I loved it.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah. But so
Yeah.
he can say that because his place isn't. He's not having to prove anything to anybody. He just got dropped for a match because they thought bowling the quicks would be a better line up, and it's proved to be right. To be honest with you, if they'd paid Nathan Lyon or not, I think the outcome would have been pretty much the same anyway.
Yeah.
But if Joe Root, so I get the fact they've got to send, they've got to toe the party line. Otherwise, Danny Rubin and all those guys are not going to be happy with what they're saying in the press. But if Joe Root, whose place isn't in any danger, came out and said, actually, we need to change the way we play. This isn't working. He is probably the only person in that setup who could do it as Nathan Lyon did. And I think that's what the public want. I think they want some sort of, and I think they want some sort of acceptance that you haven't got it right, because people don't get it right all of the time. Just accepting the fact that you might have got it wrong will go a long way towards getting the public back on side. Play how you like. It's the way you want to play. We have no control over that. I think all we want as the paying public, if you like, is some sort of level of honesty.
Yeah, and I'd possibly flip it and say that the way you could speak more honestly as an Australian with the press, even that you can be like that. You can be more your character because that's what they want to see. Whereas as an England cricketer and any England top level sports fan, you're so worried about what you say because of what it can blow up into. In a way, you're waiting. You know that the press are hanging on what you're saying to blow it up, to give headlines, and that's the difficult bit. But you're right, someone like Joe Root, but I don't think he will.
No,
But he'll
I don't
come
think it
out
would either.
and
Yeah,
but that's what we're crying out for,
yeah,
and it's something as I said, when you leave that environment. And then you look back and you listen to players in there talking, you can sort of think that was me. I was just going out there and I was giving nothing away. And it was the fear of, because if I give something away, what's the effect of that?
yeah, yeah. That's
The
right.
bravery now, and I'm sure that they will have a team debrief. They will do something because the noise from the outside filters in. And so McCullum and those guys will sit down as a group, 2-0 down. They'll sit down, they'll have an honest conversation, and it'll thrash out within that group. And that's the way it should happen. And so then they'll look at each other and they'll come up and they'll say, what we're doing isn't working. What do we need to do? Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's their in-house conversations. When you're outside, when you're talking outside, you toe the party line.
Yeah, I get that. I just think in the day of social media, where you can't really hide as much as maybe you used to be able to when you played, is that I think that as a comms strategy or a PR strategy is probably a bit outdated now. And I think they've got to come out and say, right, we're going to make some changes, because I don't see they've got any option. Anyway, let's lighten the mood, shall we? Before we get to your
Yep.
true or false, it was something that Glenn McGrath actually noticed when he was on comms, was your old friend Michael Kasparovich had went today to the test dressed as a stormtrooper. What fancy dress do you remember from the '05 series?
Did they say what was the significance of Casper being
No,
in a
I
storm?
don't know. I
Because
think he was just part of a
Casper's
group
got
of
a good
people.
level,
He's
was
got a
he?
what?
So just with his mates,
Just with his mates, yeah.
he's got he used to have a pretty high ranking position. I'm a bit out of touch with it, but I just love it because when we come back to the way that what you can be in the Australian public and what you're
Yeah.
allowed to do compared to us, that typifies it. That Michael Kasparovich, and I'm sure he's got a high position in cricket, can go to the cricket with his mates dressed as a stormtrooper and have a great day as a fan.
Yeah.
That is what I love it. Do you see any of us do that?
No.
The closest I got to that a few years ago was I bought a cheap pink suit and I went to Lord's in a horrible pink suit, but that was because it was, for the Ruth Strauss Foundation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love that. But going back to what you asked, Headingley is synonymous with
Yeah.
dress up.
Yeah.
On the
Mm.
on the Saturday there. So, and it's the bits it was the old wrestlers, Ric Flair, all these sort of But you saw it and that's what I loved. Headingley is renowned for that dress up day, and so you saw some absolute great
Had the Flintstones and stuff, didn't you?
costumes. Yeah, and you saw them at the start today. So when you were, you rock up to the ground, and then the state you saw them at the end of the day. It was. But yeah, and also, but Headingley is a great place to play, and part of that. I remember moonwalking during a test
You were?
match. In between balls, because the
Yeah.
Barmy Army or the crowd would just sing out, give us a dance, and they would work their way around the team, and I always remember thinking there, oh my gosh, all right, it's going to be me soon. What am I going to? And a bit of a Michael Jackson fan,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I pulled out the moonwalk, which in cricket spikes is a pretty
Yeah, it must have
decent
been
effort,
tough. Yeah,
and
less slidey than normal.
yeah. Yeah, so and that's what adds to it. When you have those days, that's what crowd goes for. And that's why, looking at the disappointment that our traveling fans aren't getting 5 days of that sort of
Yeah.
entertainment,
Exactly.
that's the heartbreaker. I heard last night, actually, they had friends who went out one guy went out for the first 2 days, and then another mate was going out for the last 3 days of the Perth Test match, and they met in the hotel. And one went unlucky,
And both.
off he went. Imagine travelling to Perth. That's the only you're going to go out to Perth for days 3, 4, and 5,
Yeah. And you
and you
don't
don't
get to see
you
anything.
don't see a
No,
ball
exactly.
bowl. Yeah.
Did the Richie Benos, were they too early, or were they at 05 or even 06, 07? I think they came
Um,
along a bit later, didn't they?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
keeping.
But,
I don't know if I was too afraid to look around the crowd in 06, 07, and then the first 3 Test match, and then the last couple, which I'm sure last couple was just I wasn't in the team.
no.
Sydney and Melbourne. That what 2 cities to be in when I've been dropped from the team. I've got a load of mates there. I knew I wasn't playing. I had to be ready but once it started, so wow, Sydney, I could have been in the crowd and I wouldn't have even known in those 2 Test matches.
Did you get any extra grief at the Gabba or not when you played there for being a Queenslander playing for England?
No, not really.
No.
No. Other than the reception I got from the players after Dad's comments about
Oh
Warney.
yeah.
But no, yeah, not so much about the. Yeah, no, I don't. I think I don't recall my career. It's the question. Tell me the sledges. I kept down. I kept my sort of head down, because I knew that. Hang on a minute. I don't want to engage, because for one, I don't. I'd never a sledger, so I don't think I was ever in a position to be able to come back and and have a go at people, because
Mm.
I wasn't quick enough with
No.
there's some cricketers out there with very sharp brains, and
Yeah.
I just thought, I'm not going to get engaged in it. I'm going to keep my head down. And I loved what went on around me. Like mind the windows, Tino.
Were you
There's a lot of
keeping them?
Freddie chirping behind me. Yeah, loved
Yeah.
it. I could hear it all going on, and I'm just there chuckling, and then he missed it, whee, and off he goes, because that's what I loved.
Yes.
I've got Flintoff getting stuck into someone. I'm not going to pipe up.
True or false? You ready? So
Yep.
day three of the 2010-11 second Ashes Test was at Adelaide. That's not your question. Right, this is the question. England seamers bowled more maidens than Australia had runs in the first 10 overs of their innings. So England seamers bowled more maidens than Australia scored runs in the first 10 overs of their innings. True or false? Oh, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this.
Oh, do you know what? This is where I'm so bad. I can't remember which order I've done stuff in, because that makes up part of my guessing. What was my last answer? And you're now going to get finicky, where it's going to be so slim the margins trying to catch me out. Listen, I'm going to say true.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh, England bowled 6 maidens and Australia scored 5 runs in that window.
Yes.
Outrageous. I
I'm
mean,
just, well, that was our series, wasn't it? That
no, this
was
is 10,
the,
11. This is 10, 11.
which one did we win? Well, that earlier one, 10, 11, no good.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it's the one we won. Sorry, not the
Um,
one you played in. Yeah, 10,
yeah,
11.
so yeah,
Yeah,
so we'd
yeah,
gone
the
to the
Cook one.
Gabba,
Yeah.
cook, and so we were flying, and we'd come on the back of that, and then so yeah, that's part of my thinking. I'm thinking, which series was it? Oh right, that was a good one for us. So that's a positive stat for us. I think we started the Test match well with probably Broad and Anderson. Yeah, let's go for it.
Was that was that Broadland? Was that not the Bresnan, Finn, all that stuff? Was that then or not? When was that?
But it couldn't have been, but they didn't enter my thinking.
No, okay, fine, good, good. Right, I'm gonna get back to the 1890s. I think on the next one. There's no. I need to get one back. Okay, so it's not gone very well today. I think we've established that. You don't necessarily think that England are going to make any dramatic changes for the next test. Potentially, Ollie Pope is done for now. Jamie Smith, you think, will stay. Bad news for England, obviously, is that Cummins is fit. Nathan Lyon is bound to play. So, and actually, that's weird, isn't it? So, 2 players have done well. Probably Boland and Doggett are not going to play, which is, adding to England's woe, I thought. I don't know who else they dropped, though. Nessa, probably. So, probably Boland will play, and Nessa and Michael Nisa, sorry, and Doggett will probably drop out. So so you got Pat Cummins coming back, which is not great. Who won what session today? Let me just give you the recap just in case. So the first session up till tea. So overnight, what were they? 378 for 6, and they ended up 450 for 8 at tea. So that's 78 for 2, effectively, Australia. So, and then at the dinner, the second break, Australia scored another 61 runs for 2 for the loss of 2 wickets, and England were 45 without loss. And at the end, England were 134 for 6. So what do you think? First session? Well, obviously, a third session's gone to Australia, so we can rule that one out.
Yeah, I'm going to go all 3 to make it easy. All 3 to Australia because of the, it was all about the build up to the night session of bowling. And so, yes, the middle session didn't necessarily score, those 2 wickets for 60 runs. And then England came out and absolutely thrashed it everywhere. But ultimately, Australia weren't bothered about that because what they'd done in 1 and 2 had set them up perfectly. The old chess pieces were ready for checkmate, and essentially that's what they did. So yeah, 1, 2, and 3 all to Australia.
So that's 7-2 in this test sessions wise. And I think that dominance is reflected in the actual score, isn't it? So tomorrow's prediction, I mean, obviously we know who's going to win. It's just a question of, is it an innings victory, or do you think England will give them a small target to chase down?
No, well, I want us to, even if it's a 100-run lead. That's what the discussion should be. Is that they, still got Stokes out there, haven't we?
Yes.
So we've
Stokes and Jack.
So we've got 2 batters who are in for their batting.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you mentioned, so it's in the best conditions to bat.
Mm-hmm.
The ball is older. It's sunlight. So we've got to do what the Australian batters did this, in their first session, is bat and make use of those conditions. And then with those 2 guys batting, let's get into the positive with runs. And then, you still got Atkinson as well. So we've 4 wickets. We have to make them earn them as like they haven't earned them before in this series. Right, get that ball going, and then, but it will be. I don't think they can bat, the whole day as much as I'd love them to. I'd like, if Australia are chasing something over 100, that would be a great start because the wicket is playing up a bit.
It's getting low.
There's talk of the cracks widening. Duckett's dismissal today was he couldn't have done anything about that. started to nibble a bit, and there's a little bit of that up and down. So that will be the conversation tonight. Make them earn every wicket like we haven't made them earn them yet. Tick off the runs. Yeah, let's get beyond them, and then let's push for as many as we can. So if we, 100, who knows, 150 lead, bowl under lights, that would be amazing. Or it could be done by the end of session 1.
Those straws you're clutching, are they on your desk?
No, it's hope. Come on, as I said
Listen,
a lot earlier.
I think what you've just explained is what should happen. I think this English side has shown no recognition of the fact that that's what they need to do. So anyway, let's wait and see. Ben Stokes, you never know when he's there. Mercurial, he's got the track record, of the previous Ashes and the World Cup, obviously. So let's be buoyant. But Jonesy, we may have a very short show tomorrow. We may not have a show, but we've definitely got one on Monday, and we're joined, unfortunately, by an Australian. So we'll see how we get on. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will speak to you, sometime in the next couple of days.
Thank you, and I'll post a picture of my Clubman of the Year tankard trophy from last night.
Will you be holding a spud in the other hand or not?
No, the spud it'd be more apt me holding an alcoholic beverage, because I essentially got the award for how well I've run the bar.
Oh, excellent!
That sort of says a lot about Ash Cricket Club. Yeah, so I run the bar, so they've been happy I haven't run out of stuff. I've made some additions, which has gone down very well, and so Ash Cricket Club, Lover Social, Clubman of the Year is the barman.
Wicket keeper to barkeeper. Excellent work. Right. I shall see you soon. Cheers, mate.
See ya.
Bye.